Martin Scorsese is often considered the best director of all time, and he seems to have a big audience from all age groups and generations. I will say, as a precursor for this ranking, that Scorsese is not my favorite director in the world, and sometimes I might have some pretty hot takes regarding his movies, but I'm still going to do it because it's fun. Boxcar Bertha is most people's least favorite Scorsese movie, including me, and I totally get why everyone hates it because it's really bad. Like, I had low expectations, but I didn't expect it to be this horrible. I don't really have anything notable to say here. Like, the plot is boring as hell, the movie has a barf shit stain looking color palette that just feels unpleasant. It's just a dirty feeling movie, and I hated it. It's also very boring. Even Scorsese knows this is bad, which continues the trend of a director hating one of their earlier movies. But this is worse than most first movies when compared to other great directors I've ranked. 2 out of 10. Who's That Knocking at My Door is the first Scorsese movie, and you can really tell. This movie looks like crap, and honestly, I'm not sure if I found the best looking version, so I'm just gonna trust Internet Archive. The plot of this movie is very basic. It's just a typical romance kind of plot with some internal struggles. There's super long and dragged out conversations about random stuff like John Wayne, and they don't even give the girl a name. Nobody feels deep or layered at all. I mean, there's really nothing to say about this movie. It's very bad. 3 out of 10. New York, New York is a movie that I was absolutely dreading going into. It was one of the many Scorsese movies that I hadn't seen, and I saved it for last, because I had been waiting for the perfect moment to watch something I knew I would hate. There's been times where I enjoyed a movie that I wouldn't like on paper, but a nearly 3-hour musical romance that didn't even have good reviews from people who like that sort of stuff, I just had a bad feeling about it. And yeah, I hated every second of it. I think I fell asleep actually. I don't remember, I watched a bunch of these at like 3 a.m. The main two characters are performed weakly and have absolutely zero chemistry. They could have cut out half of this stuff, and it did not have to be this long. And I think I'm done talking about this movie because I don't like it. 3 out of 10. The Wolf of Wall Street is one of my least favorite Scorsese movies, and one of my least favorite highly rated, critically acclaimed movies of all time, to be honest. This movie gave me a massive headache, with an incredibly fast pacing, which is something that I'm not a fan of. So many of these performances drove me insane, especially Jonah Hill, who ruined every scene he was in for me. It's way too damn long, and a majority of the movie is just random rich people stuff that I can't stand. I also live in an area with a ton of rich people. I remember one time in high school, this kid had a Jordan Belfort home screen because he said he was his idol. It's not the movie's fault for people misunderstanding the message, but I feel like the message wasn't really important to the actual movie. They just shoehorned it in just to act like the movie was anti-drugs and rich people that were being corrupt. But by that time, I already wanted to turn the movie off. There's no plot for a large part of this movie, just Leo being an asshole and cheating on his wives and doing drugs and more drugs and drinking alcohol and yelling, and I hate this movie. I didn't enjoy a single second of it. 3 out of 10. Gangs of New York is the worst gangster Scorsese movie in my opinion, but not by a lot. I'm just gonna say that you guys are not gonna like my opinions on certain gangster movies, and this is probably one of them. People like this movie a lot, not as much as other gangster Scorsese movies, but I still see people talk about how they love this movie and Daniel Day-Lewis's performance. And I just kinda give these dudes an internal side eye because this movie is so damn boring. Like, it's just bare bones gangster stuff, except this time it's in old America. Leo sucks in this movie, and Daniel Day-Lewis also gives a weak performance for his standards. 4 out of 10. Casino is another gangster movie, except this time they're in a casino. All these conversations and character types and plot lines have happened in other Scorsese movies, and I'm just sick of it. This movie would be like fine and passable, but I really do not like the cast and their performances in this movie. De Niro really sucks in this movie compared to earlier years. He's just a blank slate the entire time, and then he like yells once in a while. I watched 3 hours of this shit, and I still don't know anything about the guy. Joe Pesci feels like a shell of his former self the entire runtime, and doesn't bring the same energy. And Sharon Stone has no depth or personality, she's just annoying. This movie also has the annoying ass narration that gives me a headache. The whole movie feels like a trailer, and I wish it just toned down. It's personal preference, I just prefer slower movies compared to this stuff. It reminds me of a Mr. Beast video. 4 out of 10. Kundun, or Kundun, or I genuinely don't know how to pronounce this movie. is definitely the least talked about Scorsese movie, and that's because it totally flopped, and I think most people think it's a foreign language movie. I even did, until I clicked play and these guys were speaking English. This movie is so standard and cliche. I know it's based off a real story, but it feels like any other royalty type of movie. It's kinda cool to see other cultures, I guess, but this movie just has no personality or anything. It's something I think Scorsese struggles with pretty often, and this is one of the worst cases of that. 4 out of 10. The Age of Innocence is another movie that I was dreading. A romance period piece? Hell no. And yeah, it is really boring, just like all the others of the genre usually. It takes something special for me to like a period piece, like a Barry Lyndon or something, and this movie has none of that. Daniel Day-Lewis is fine, and so is Michelle Pfeiffer, but the script and direction is just so plain. The aesthetic and color palette of the movie is also pale and dry. I just hate these kinds of movies, and Scorsese does nothing to separate it from others of the genre. 4 out of 10. After Hours has been getting so much random love in recent years, and I do not get it at all. This movie tries to be something unique and almost Lynchian, but there's no charm and once again no personality. The main character has no charisma or anything, and just feels like a basic character. I understand that's supposed to make it relatable, but it also makes it boring. This movie is also supposed to be a comedy, and that could have fooled me because I didn't laugh once. I'll praise this movie for being original, but it's also soulless and fails at most things that it tries to do. 4 out of 10. Mean Streets is Scorsese's first gangster movie, which is obviously what the guy would end up being known for, and I actually do think it's better than most of his other ones, even if most people don't think so. This movie is not good at all, don't get me wrong, but I think the poster looks really cool, and the vibe and atmosphere is more memorable. It's a really dark looking movie, and it sucked me in because of that. The plot sucks, and so do the characters, but it looks pretty cool, and that's good enough to be this high. 5 out of 10. Cape Fear does not feel like a Scorsese movie at all. It's a standard campy and cheesy 90s movie with a lot of creepy and weird stuff going on. De Niro's character is gross and horrible, and I never wanted anything good to happen to him. I see some people supporting him, and that seems to be why they like the movie, but I'm not a supporter of pedophiles and rapists, so I was pretty heavily rooting for the guy's downfall. I also think the family is unlikable too, so that basically means everyone in this movie sucks and is either annoying or horrible. The plot is kind of interesting, and I do want to watch the older version of this movie, because this could have been solid with good execution, but it doesn't have good execution, so 5 out of 10. Goodfellas, I have the same problems as I do with Casino, Gangs of New York, and Mean Streets, and the main problem is that nothing feels original. All these movies are just other amplified versions of The Godfather. They never feel original or engaging. The characters are all carbon copies of each other, and I can pretty much recite every conversation in these movies because they're all the same. The plot of this movie is some random money bullshit and Ray Liotta being a gangster. De Niro once again is mid in this movie. You're waiting for him to grab your attention with any form of emotion, but he's just a big piece of cardboard the whole time. The only reason this movie is so high is because Joe Pesci is goated in this movie. Every scene with him rules. And this also has some horrible narration that sucks, but 5 out of 10 because of Joe Pesci and a pretty good soundtrack. I've seen people put The King of Comedy at like number 1, which is just surreal to me. This movie drags. The scene with De Niro in the waiting room was way too long, and it didn't succeed in making me feel uncomfortable like other scenes do in this movie. The ending kidnap scene was just so weird and confusingly directed. Like, why was it so easy for both parties? And why was it all so sudden after so much build-up? The direction in this movie overall is pretty strange, and I don't like it at all. So many things are introduced, and pretty much nothing is revealed by the end. I know it was trying to be subtle, but why the hell would I care about weird-ass De Niro and his dead mom? Like, all the normal storytelling techniques are gone. There's a few good scenes that show the character's mental problems, but I have a lot of stuff to complain about here as well. 5 out of 10. Hugo is the weirdest thing Scorsese ever made, but I do like it actually, first time I can say that in this ranking. This movie looks absolutely incredible. It really feels magical, like some sort of animated movie, except it's live action. This movie looked so cool from posters and stuff, as this was my first time watching it, that I thought there was some fantastical supernatural stuff, but there's not. It just looks that great. I think the scenes at the end with the old movie director and his history is cool too, and that's about where my compliments end. A lot of this movie is very generic, and I still don't understand how the clock shit works. None of the characters are likable either, especially the Diary of a Wimpy Kid girl. The conductor guy was especially annoying, and him being the main antagonist at the end was a weird decision. I still enjoy this movie though, 6 out of 10. Silence is totally this high because it is the best looking Scorsese movie by a mile. I don't even know what second would be. This is one of the best looking movies of the last decade probably. These landscape shots had me mesmerized, and the ocean ones as well. It's just so good. The plot is also philosophical and stuff, and it's pretty cool. I'm not too into religious movies outside of a few exceptions because I'm not religious at all myself. But this one had some cool conversations, especially the one with Andrew Garfield and Liam Neeson near the end. This movie is still way too long though, and way too boring for a large part. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it that much, but it looks great enough for it to be a 6 out of 10. The Aviator is a pretty underrated Scorsese movie in my opinion. It's definitely not great, it's a fairly standard biopic movie, but this is a rare time where I think Martin's direction is really good and helps make this movie more enjoyable. It's still way too long though, and the beginning plane stuff can drag quite a bit, but I think Leo is really good here, and there's some great stuff near the end with the main character just losing his mind. The courtroom scenes are entertaining as well. I'm still not the biggest fan of biopics, outside of a few exceptions, but this one has some redeeming qualities. I also love the scene where Leo goes to Katharine Hepburn's family's house, and you can see immediately how the class difference makes the rich people look like cocky assholes that have no knowledge of how most of the world works. It reminds me of 5 Easy Pieces, which does wipe the floor with this movie, but this movie still isn't all that great. 6 out of 10. The Color of Money is a really fun movie for the first act and the third act, but the second act kinda drags it down. The Tom Cruise being a whiny brat scenes last way too long, and Paul Newman tones down the awesomeness for a while, but then they split up and it gets good again. I think this is a Scorsese movie depending the most on acting, and Newman is great, and Tom Cruise is also perfect at being annoying and an asshole. It's his specialty. Newman does steal the show though, he won the Oscar for a reason. The plot of this movie is super low stakes, just about hustling people in pool, but the acting makes it a really fun time, and this was one of my most pleasant surprises watching a Scorsese movie. 7 out of 10. So it turns out that I like grounded and lower stakes Scorsese movies compared to the usual gangster stuff, which also I think is kind of unfair because he hasn't even made that many gangster movies. But still, I can't help but prefer movies like Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore because it's just more up my alley. I prefer slower and more emotional character-driven movies, so a movie about a struggling mom taking care of her kid after her husband dies is a lot more engaging. This movie also has a bunch of great scenes where Alice gets screwed over by men, and it's just really emotional, especially Harvey Keitel's character, who just pisses me off so bad. It gets really good when Alice starts working in the diner and meets some friends and another dude. Seeing Alice find a good man that treats her right is so satisfying and well deserved. My biggest complaint was the annoying kid being annoying for the whole time, but other than that, this is a really laid back and wholesome movie that I like quite a bit. 7 out of 10. I wanted to watch The Irishman since it came out, but never did until preparing for this video. I kinda knew I wouldn't love it, and I don't, but I really like Al Pacino, so I wanted to see it. I was just really scared of the length, and I have this thing where I need to watch movies in one sitting to get maximum enjoyment, and I don't know if I was capable of doing that with The Irishman. I did do it though, but it was quite the challenge because this movie drags a lot. The middle section does feel like dime a dozen Scorsese crime stuff, but it's made a lot better because of the great performances, especially by Pacino, who kills every scene he's in. And I also think the direction is so much more mature and polished, and moves at a good speed, unlike the overly fast stuff he did earlier in his career. This movie is not perfect, at all. In fact, I won't even say that it's great, but I do like this movie and respect the ambition and care that went into it. 7 out of 10. The Last Temptation of Christ is probably the most creative and ambitious Scorsese movie. I said earlier I'm not a big fan of religious movies, so I was skeptical going into a movie about the biggest religious figure in history, being Jesus Christ, but I just had a good time with this movie despite my lack of interest with the subject matter. Willem Dafoe gives one of the best performances out of any Scorsese lead, and there's so much great dialogue about the idea of the Messiah and criticism of certain religion. I think the idea of spreading love being the most important part of faith and just living as a whole is a great message that some people need to listen to instead of being hateful bigots. 8 out of 10. Shutter Island is very polarizing for Scorsese fans from what I've seen. Some people have it in like their top 5, like me, and some have it in the bottom 5. I think this movie is really entertaining and I genuinely didn't see any of the twists coming. It also looks damn incredible. All of the rain scenes feel so dark and mysterious. There's always this feeling that something horrible is gonna happen, and I was so into it. Leo is pretty good here too. He's not like amazing, but he does his job well. I think Scorsese regrets making this movie, which I think is pretty interesting, because it has some of his absolute best direction in my opinion. It's kind of Fincher-esque, with a very tight and focused style of direction, and it totally nails the style. The final act was the best part, obviously. That had me glued to the screen and in shock. Overall, this movie is really fun, and all the plot twists work. 8 out of 10. The Departed proves that it's not the genre of gangster movies that I don't like about earlier Scorsese movies. It's just the way it's executed. I love movies like The Godfather and Once Upon a Time in America. Gangster epics kick ass when they're done well, and The Departed is done really well. There's no annoying narration and the characters feel unique. Jack Nicholson is the highlight, like usual for every movie he's in pretty much. But everyone in this movie, even Mark Wahlberg, who I usually don't like, is really good. I also usually don't like Matt Damon, and he's really good in this. I'm a Boston sports fan, but not a fan of the city, but this movie makes it a really likable setting. The best performance is Nicholson though, with Leo being second. The plot is really engaging, and the idea of a rat being one of the main characters is original compared to other gangster movies, and a really smart way to engage the audience. We always know more than the people on screen, and watching them figure everything out is great. I still think Little Miss Sunshine should have won Best Picture, but if this isn't a bad choice for the only Scorsese movie that did win the award, especially because Martin directs the hell out of this one as well. 8 out of 10. Killers of the Flower Moon is the newest Scorsese movie at the time of this video, and is totally one of my favorites from him. It's really long, and I was originally scared because I didn't think the man would be able to pull off back-to-back long epic movies, but he did, so I'll give him a ton of credit. Honestly, the last decade or so has been his best from a direction standpoint, other than the late 70s and early 80s. Like, this movie is so smart and mature, it had me fooled for the entire 3.5 hour runtime. There's so many awesome shots and intense moments. The gangster mafia moments are as gripping as ever. De Niro is really good as the old corrupt head mafia guy. Leo makes a funny face, but he's pretty good. And goddamn, Lily Gladstone kills it the entire time. This girl brings so much emotion and passion into this role. It feels like she really cared about the Osage history and the horrible events that occurred, because she gives it her all. Scorsese has always had a problem making his female characters feel layered and genuine, and Molly proves that the guy has improved so much in that aspect. This movie rules, and I could see me bumping this even higher in the future. 8 out of 10. I have been kind of critical of Robert De Niro in a lot of these movies, but that's because I was saving my praise for these last two movies. Robert De Niro's performance in Raging Bull is one of the greatest performances in movie history. For the parts of the movie where he bottles in his anger and stays on the calmer side, he rivals Pacino in his ability to hold back anger while still feeling like he could burst at any moment. But when De Niro lets loose, it is so good. It wouldn't be nearly as great without the build-up, but really I could watch an hour of De Niro just freaking out. No moment feels safe with him on screen, whether he's with his Joe Pesci brother or his wife. The plot is also pretty engaging, and it's cool to see the classic Scorsese plot of a man losing his shit handled well in another context. The black and white also works really well and makes this one of his best looking movies, especially the boxing scenes, which still blow me away to this day. Scorsese really just kills the direction throughout the entire movie, and it all comes together for the ending scene, where we see Jake LaMotta as a washed-up loser. He's one of the best characters in any Scorsese movie, and this whole movie is just awesome. 9 out of 10. Taxi Driver is one of the movies that got me into watching movies so much. It used to be one of my absolute favorites. I had it in my top 4 at Letterboxd for like a year or two. I would be lying if I said it didn't grow off of me a tiny bit, but I still love this movie. Travis Bickle is the best Scorsese character, and the second best performance from De Niro, only behind Jake LaMotta. His character arc was so legendary and groundbreaking that it's still inspiring people to this day. I don't really care about influence and how important it is, but I do know that it's incredible to watch this man go insane because of how much horrible stuff he sees on an everyday basis. It can really leave a toll on a person when they live surrounded by so much shit. I usually hate narration like this, but it feels so fitting because we get to see the mental state of this really sick human. It gives him a sense of relatability and makes you empathize with him, even though he's still a psychopath. The narration also isn't fast. It's slow and puts you in a trance. This whole movie has so much atmosphere and it's really mesmerizing. A big part of that is how dark and haunting the city feels, and also the hypnotic jazz music. The final act of this movie also hits everything right. This whole movie is just awesome and one of the best movies to watch at 3 a.m. 10 out of 10.